The year was 2002, and WWE had their 18th Wrestlemania in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in the Sky Dome. They had some performances there. Saliva. We had Drowning Pool. There was over, I don't know if it was over, but the attendance number that has been shown is 68,237 people were there. We had 11 matches, so you know this is definitely a throwback episode because in today's WWE, doing 6 was a little jumpy, a little juicy, a little spicy, if you will. This is the Big Pop 30 podcast. We use the YouTube channel to talk about some old school content from WWE, from WCW. Hopefully, we get some more TNA talk on here, and maybe eventually we'll do some ECW. I can speak for these gentlemen when I say we didn't watch ECW, so when we watch it for the first time, and trust and know and believe, I know a lot of that stuff has been some stuff has been edited out. It's gonna be quite the treat when you see us talk about some ECW. But I'm on your host, I identify as the Great Grand Slam Poobah. I'm joined with the smartest man in the room, Rich King, and the Mark of Mark wins. My favorite Mark. Gentlemen, how the heck are you guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's starting to get warm, and I'm enjoying the warmer weather. I'm gonna keep it at that because otherwise I'll be rambling about how I'm outside. Not outside, but I'm outside.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good myself. Like I said, it's getting warm. It's getting my favorite season of the year, so let's go. Is that a buzz? That's my cue. Okay, I'm gonna the static shock here. So yeah, the year. Can you hear me?
Okay, is everyone here?
Cool. All right, blink. Yes, I was gonna say blink 2 times if you can hear me. Well, that works. The year is 2002, WrestleMania 18 on March 17th, and this is a treat. This is one of our favorite, me and the great here, WrestleManias of all time, and just rewatching this over again gave me those moments like I don't remember this. Oh yes, I remember that, and it was such a great WrestleMania to get into. So we're not going to go on to that heat match or that velocity match that was happening earlier. We just don't care about that kind of stuff. We want to go into the WrestleMania. So we had that nice little opening theme for us that set the tone. And right out the way, we had William Regal versus Rob Van Dam making his WrestleMania debut. So I'm going to give it over to one of the biggest Rob Van Dam fans I knew at that time, the Great Grand Slam. And I'm going to pass it off to Mark, and I'm going to go last on the thoughts of this match. So, the Great, tell me more. How do you feel about this match?
It's funny, and I appreciate you throwing me the ball here first here. I remember as a kid watching it in 2002, and I was so stoked that RVD was getting a shot at the Intercontinental Championship because at the time, a few months prior, he was the hardcore champion. And you're like, man, there's more to this guy. Like, I'm pretty sure of it. I mean, and if I could throw out there, he made the hardcore championship look pretty freaking cool. But this match here, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say 5 stars at the Tokyo Dome, anything that really blew me away. But I remember as a kid how happy I was to see RVD win. And watching it back as an adult, I still have that same feeling. It was so cool to see RVD. RVD did we don't, play by play with the moves and everything like that. But man, was he taking some stuff, bro. Like, there was that one move Regal did. It was like a underhook. And he flipped him over, and he landed like straight on his neck. And I said, "Oh my lord!" Also, one of my other notes here for this match was Regal is fucking awesome. All right, like I love William Regal. William Regal is great. Some of the stuff I did not like though, because I remember Regal's moveset. So the Regal Cutter. I think by then it's just stopped being his finisher. So it was a nice, cool throwback to something that he was doing the year prior. But the Tiger Bomb, I don't remember this at all. But he kicked out. I said, "Are you kidding me?" It just, and I think that just stems from this is the opening match. That's his finish. It just wasn't like a main event thing. Stuff like that kind of I'm just not a big fan of. But the match was solid. The match was cool. There was something JR wrote because I had put a few notes here, but JR says something over the lines of, young MJ don't have the hang time like RVD. He said a young MJ. I said, I know what we're doing here, but stop talking. Like, please, just put the mic down. We're saying anything. We had a just threw up words. Or one of my favorite things now when I talk to people and I see them online and they make up stuff, I say, "Oh, you just collapsed on the keyboard." Okay, that's cool. You're just making up stuff. But the match was fine. The match was fine. I thought it was a great way to open up the show, a feel good moment. RVD was he was a top baby face. I'm going to say top baby face. People loved him. So yeah, good stuff.
Mr. Wins.
It was a fun match. It was a nice little solid quick starter to get the blood rushing. There's a part of me that wishes there was a little more because I do enjoy RVD in the ring. And I don't want to. So Regal is a wrestler that I did not appreciate when I was younger, when he was in his prime. I don't know if this was his prime or whatever, but like when I was younger and he was wrestling, I did not appreciate Regal in the ring. But looking back at all these like little retro things that we're watching, every time I see him, it's like, yeah, he was solid. Like, I don't like, granted, I don't know, if he ever had it. I'm guessing he didn't have any really big title runs or anything like that. But like, I see Regal, I'm like, damn, like he might have been a little bit underutilized because this was a solid match. It was definitely, what they call it, a clash of styles and whatnot. And yeah, it was a great match. It was just, I do wish there was a little bit more. I don't really have any much else to say, except once again, like the great Grand Slam Poopa alluded to, the commentary was out of control. Like there was the brass knuckles, and I think it ended up outside the ring or something. And then I think Jerry Lawler was like, "Oh look, see Regal, he's a good guy. He's picking up the trash around the ringside." It's just like, what are you talking about? Yes, the commentary was out of control, but you love it and you expect it, and it helps bring the aura to the match, especially since this match was so short. So yeah, nice, like I said, nice little solid opener is the type of opener that you want when you have a card like this, because I'll talk about the card later. But yeah, it's a nice little match.
Yeah, the match was a nice little solid opener. I think I agree. I think we underappreciated William Regal at the time because he was just one of those people. I was a fan of William Regal because I love that theme, and he always was just like he found that one fan in the crowd till way back. He was just the best. I know you said that he didn't have major title runs, but I think he is one of those wrestlers that we need in every generation. A mid-card specialist. He needs to be going for the European, he needs to go for the Intercontinental, he needs to go for the hardcore, whatever, and he's going to make the best out of that belt and bring some prestige or bring some assignment to that belt. Like when he came into the ring, they were asking, King said, I don't think the Intercontinental people would be happy if Rob Van Dam was the champion. They're happy that Reed was the champion because that plays in his character. So he has a lot of great, I want to say he puts his character with his moveset into the wrestling matches, and you can feel it every time he's in a match. So he does a really good job of delivering punishment. And, JR did mention something in the match about he's a great defending wrestler. And I didn't think about him being a great defensive wrestler until I watched the rest of this whole match. Like, he's pretty good at what JR said. JR was pretty astute in his analysis there. On Sadly, we really did not win the match. That was not something at the time I did not want to see Rob Van Dam win the match, and he did win the damn match, and watch it over again was kind of sad. But William Regal had two brass knuckles, right? So he said, no. He got that kick right in his face. Like, it was so sad. But, it was a solid match. It did showcase both wrestlers' abilities, which is kind of hard. We have two different conflicting styles. And I think they both put each other over in that 6-minute and 22-second match. So pretty solid. I loved it. So on to the next match we had here was, taking us back to 2002, like, me and the Great, we were never Edge and Christian fans. We just were not. Like, they were on the bottom of our list with Funaki, and that's for other reasons, folks. But Christian, when he came into his at last, he's on his own thing, and he had this theme. Me and the Great fell in love with this. This was like an amazing theme. We loved hearing this opera music and this, and his tantrums. It was just beautiful. It was just amazing going down memory lane here. Once again, another unfavorable result. So I'm gonna kick us off here first. I'm gonna go down to Mark wins and be great close us out here. I was never a DDP fan, and I'll take us back 4 months ago. 4 months ago, we had the DDP match with the fraudulent People's Champion. Remember that shit? Not a fan at all. And DDP winning this match was a disgrace. So I'm gonna just leave that there, and Mark wins. Take it off.
So this is another one of those quick matches, I guess. It was, because as the great Grand Slam Poopa mentioned, there were 11 matches, and I guess we had to, get through some of these matches. Is one of those matches we had to get through. It was a quick one. DDP wins. Bang. Shout out to Canyon. I don't know which of the two between DDP and Canyon came up with the bang, but shout out to Canyon. It was really interesting, right? Because the match was solid, but DDP comes up with the win, and then apparently Christian was DDP was Christian's mentor, and DDP allegedly was training Christian to control his temper, and then after DDP wins, he has the nerve, the gall, the audacity to be like, you controlled your temper even though you lost in front of 67,000 people. And I'm like, this is why he went to TNA. Because, what do we... And then he loses his temper, and he's just out here having this, the most childish temper tantrum. And I'm like, wow. No wonder he I'm out of here. As soon as he had the opportunity. Oh, there's a new company? Yes, please. So, that was just something that's something I picked up. But, yeah, nice, solid match. Nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it for the 2 seconds it was, and I got to learn a little something about Christian, the history of Christian, and his travels throughout his wrestling career.
I don't know. I just find it. I love it. First off, I think it's so cool to give Canyon his flowers. DDP created that gimmick, but Canyon stole it and made it even better. So sometimes stealing does work for you. I do believe in. I'm honestly a fan of people stealing. So I love that for Canyon. He stole it, made it his own. After a while, when DDP did it, I said, okay, he's the originator, but I need more. What are we even talking about? Oh, he created it. Okay. Can we talk about the guy who made Batman? The guy who originally made Batman, he did not look like the final Batman. So not always when the first person do it means it's the best, by the way. Just throwing it out there. This match, let's talk about this match. It's so funny because I love that. One of the cool things about going back and we talk about some of this old school stuff here, we give a little bit of insights of where we were as kids, both me and Rich Kings. And yes, we ate that theme the fuck up. Even the lyrics, if you look at it, they said Christian, although portrayed by his brother or something like that. And I'm like, none of that happened. He turned on edge. Just the lyrics are great. And Rapunzel, Rapunzel, it was a bop. My point in saying all this, Christian should have won. I laugh because I feel like Justin knew I'm so sorry. Rich King knew the results, but he was still flabbergasted what just happened. This thing happened 20-some years ago, and I can see Rich King's doing his infamous what? Just what is going on? It was fine. It's nothing I could say wrong with the match. Mechanically, it was fine. It was a solid match, and this was I love something that you said earlier, Rich Kings, where you were saying William Regal, though not the major character and stuff, but he knew the assignment, and I think that could go for Christian. He knew the assignment. He was going to lose. And the temper tantrum stuff was always comical to me. And SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. I had to make sure I got the fourth one correct. There is a winning animation of that. When Christian loses, he bangs on the thing like that and do all that. One of the funniest ones he ever did was an episode of SmackDown, and he did it only to turn into a 5-star frog splash. It was the most funniest. It just nothing could ever beat. It is so comical. Remember that one, Rich Kings? He did it like this, and then RVD came out of nowhere and splashed.
He did a boom, 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 and then whoosh.
So yeah, this match was fine. There's nothing really. I don't think any of us are going to be talking about this after we finish the sentence here. So it was fine.
Yes, yes, it was a great match. 6 minutes and 10 seconds of our time, but it was great enough to because my biggest problem. I didn't say this, and how DDP hit that diamond cutter. It looked like poor dancing at the end of the match. It was like I don't know if it was supposed to happen that way, but it looked so forced. Like, get out of here. How the hell did that happen? But anyway, not what I wanted to see. Next, we got into Tough Enough. And I'm gonna ask this question to the great first. Tough Enough has been along for a long, like, how many seasons was Tough Enough? 4 or 5 seasons for Tough Enough?
Oh, there's been a few, even after. So there was the first 3 on MTV. Then they had that one on. I want to say they had that one on actual WWE TV on SmackDown. Then I think they took it to Raw. There's been a few seasons. I can't give you an exact number, so maybe like 6, 7 seasons of it.
So now the reason why I asked that question is to tee up this. Maven's the first Tough Enough winner.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the most successful Tough Enough winner.
Oh, winner. Okay.
All right, who's more
winner?
successful?
Winner-wise, winning?
Yes, winner-wise.
Ooh, I think John Morrison.
You think? I think overall wrestling, yes. Overall wrestling, yes. I have to give it to John Morrison.
Yeah. Even in WWE. I mean, John Morrison was a former Intercontinental Champion, held the Tag Team Championships. I mean, he was in a lot more. I feel like he had more. He did more, but also too he lasted a lot longer. Maven, I think, got cut in 2005, and Morrison left and came back in 20. I know he came back in 2020. I forget when exactly did he leave, and I want to say like around 2012, 2013, maybe 2014, maybe. So I gotta give it to John Morrison.
Okay, I forgot about John Morrison, to be honest with you. But Maven is up there, right? Maybe
Sure.
number 2. So Maven, he had his WrestleMania, a Royal Rumble moment earlier that year. He's a hardcore champion. He brings that belt to the ring, going against Goldust. And, I haven't seen 2 people get hit with a trash can lid and disappear for the rest of the night. I just haven't seen it. Like, it's just some trash can.
Like in the games, right?
It must have been real gold because they were gone. And I felt when Spike Dudley came in, I'm like, how long he's going to be out for? Like, I don't remember it being that long of him being out with a trash can to the head. And there's some more antics going on with the Hardcore Championship belt later on. But I'm going to pass it to the great first and Mark round this out. What are your thoughts of this hardcore? I'm going to say it was a match. It was a hardcore
scenario. The hardcore universe. This was fine. I mean, look, it made me appreciate the wackiness that is pro wrestling, right? Because we have this match. Spike Dudley comes out of nowhere. Al Snow is in a golf cart and fucking crashes into a bunch of boxes. And I remember just thinking, like, where's the order here? Like, there's no, like, it just seemed like everyone does what they want to do, because why did Al Snow just have a random golf? Like, why is he just driving that in this building? And why did he try to? It's like he saw what Rikishi did, and he saw the success Rikishi got out of it, and he said, you know what? Let me run someone over. I don't know. I just thought it was so wonky. Hurricane coming in, and I know we'll talk about a little bit more of some of the other hardcore stuff that happened later on in the show. But Hurricane coming through with the thing, and he barely hit it, barely hit Spike. But I laughed because you hear the King like, oh, he really can fly. I'm just like, I don't know what he does before the show, but I love it. It was fun. It was fun. It was goofy. It was nothing to really take seriously. And I know sometimes as a wrestler fan, we take stuff very, very serious. I know I have. So this was just fun. It was a fun segment, something different to balance the shows. The word is not feelings, but just balance the show and what kind of content we were going to get, from the serious stuff to the silly stuff to the stuff just to put on the show because we had to fill up the card. So that was fine. I didn't mind it. Oh, you sir. I'm sorry.
So for me, this was an 11 out of 10 concept. It was 11 out of 10 segment. Not the match of the night. I wanna make that clear. It's not the match of the night. But for me, 11 out of 10 segment, right? We got Goldust, and he comes up with my favorite Goldust theme. And then we got our favorite our favorite wrestler turned YouTuber Maven coming out, and he's the hardcore champ. So I'm watching this match, and I'm seeing the gold trash cans and the gold trash can lids, and I feel like there was something else that was gold. Was it not a golden shovel? I feel like it was a golden shovel.
John Cena made his debut before. You know, we thought it was.
We just couldn't see him, right? So like. It was really interesting, right? Because I'm looking at this match and I'm thinking to myself, if I'm watching this in 2002, I don't even give a shit about Maven. Like he just whatever. But like because I'm watching this in 2026, and you know, I believe I'm subscribed to Maven's channel. If I'm not, I see enough of his stuff on my YouTube feed. But yeah, I'm in. I love it. So I'm watching this match and I'm a little bit invested. And then out of nowhere, Spike comes and wins the championship. So right there, boom, 10 out of 10 segment. But then the camera continues. We're rolling or whatever. And then out of nowhere, Hurricane wins it. 11 out of 10. I'm just like, I love it. And I'm like, I know that this is, like I said, I know this is not the match of the night. This is not like, it's just for me, 11 out of 10. I loved it. I loved every second of this particular portion of the segment of the hardcore shenanigans anyway. Obviously, you know, there's more things that come out and we'll get to it when we get to it, but I love this.
You know what? Like, I meant to mention this in the first match, right? When I looked at my notes, like, damn, I didn't mention this. Everybody knows how much I can't stand referees. And the referees, this was a referee WrestleMania because they were getting beaten and bruised. And there are some referees, we'll get into some of these matches, some of these referees had instant stamina. They got up and they was counting. 1, 2, 3. I'm like, wait a minute. But we'll get into that. But the referees are all over the place. And when I saw Theodore Long back in the backstage, I was like, wait a minute. And I'm going to get to Theodore Long a little bit later on in a particular match. And I was like, I know he wasn't having to count to 3. But there were certain things that I seen at this WrestleMania. I'll tell you. I'll save it for later on. But the whole I kind of missed the hardcore championship. Like, you know, it was kind of replaced with the 24/7 belt. It wasn't the same. It didn't have the same prestige. It was just different. And back to our little childhood, we actually had a hardcore championship belt. Remember that thing we had? And who was the hardcore champion? Who was the hardcore champion? Did not know how to sell. I don't think he knew we were wrestling. I'm like,
I know he didn't.
I don't think he was aware of what wrestling was.
Yeah, this was a friendly performance. No one included him.
Oh, like the most I knew was to like try and not hurt people, but like my whole thing was if I didn't feel it, it didn't matter. Like that, and it was bad. It was really really bad. I was like, if you didn't hit me hard enough, I'm standing up. Y'all got me messed up.
We tried our best to make this a 24/7 belt. It went from the Great's house to my house to Easy's house to we was on Mark's block. Forget house. He was in his block wrestling for that damn hardcore championship. Enough.
Oh, we tried to find a way to take it off him.
Yes, I think he took the belt with him. I think he did a Scott Hall, threw in the trash.
Well, no, you know what I believe what this man did? It was so funny how you said the belt went from my house to your house, and the belt just had a residency at Mark's house and just stayed there for all eternity. Like, I think that I just imaged the belt on one of those like beach chairs. You know, it finally got a home, safe and secured somewhere now.
That belt was it belongs to Toy Story.
No,
and Mark.
Do you know what No, do you know what happened to that belt? The belt, it made 2 transformations. It transformed into the Wii boxing belt, and it transformed into the Smash Championship. That's what happened.
It always evolved. Oh, that's what happened. It always evolved. Who was the last? I mean, the people watching don't know what the hell we're talking about. But who was the last Smash champ? I feel like it was you.
Who won the last?
It couldn't have been me. I don't know. It was either Justin I want to say it was Justin because Justin like destroyed the belt somehow.
He stopped doing it.
That sounds like a story.
I hope we can find.
My bad. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, it was Rich Kings because Rich Kings destroyed the belt because I remember the belt was not existing after like literally reduced to atoms. Like it doesn't exist anymore.
I've been waiting my whole life for this. Let me stop. All right, so, it was great. It was great. The belt did see a lot of turns, but that was our hardcore segment. And we have another hardcore. We have a few more changes later on down the road of that night. But the next match was, one of my. I think at the time he was one of my top 3 wrestlers at the time, and I just felt he was really underappreciated. And I started paying attention to him a little bit more after the Armageddon match. So it was Kurt Angle versus Kane here. And I'm going to give it over to Mark Wins first. Then the great you come in, and I'm going to clean it up. What were your thoughts of this match? From the beginning to the end, where Kurt Angle been talking his smash to the Toronto crowd. Like, what are your thoughts here overall with Kurt Angle and his mic work all the way down to him winning this match against Kane?
So he started talking that shit about how, he earned his medal and the Canadians complained. And I had to pause because I'm like, wait, what is he talking about? So I had to pause and I had to look this up. Right. So we all know, Kurt Angle won his medal with a broken freaking neck. But apparently there was collusion between the Russians and I think it took place. I think that particular Winter Olympics took place in France. So there was collusion where apparently the Canadian figure 8 skaters, they had a superior performance, but it was rated too low. And everybody was like, what are we talking about? Absolutely not. This is nonsense. So they complained. I'm not a figure 8 specialist, so I don't know. A figure skating specialist, I don't know. But they complained and they got their gold medal. And I guess if it was rightly deserved, then it's rightly deserved, whatever. But that was real smack talk that Kurt Angle was talking. So that's a great way to get some heat. It was because I literally had to pause and I'm like, wait. This sounds a little too real, right? Right. So then boom, we got the match. Kane comes out. Kurt Angle's a little shook, but he's not that shook because it's Kurt Angle. It's like at the end of the day, like I still out wrestle you. I don't care. And they kept talking about I don't know why our commentary team loved the phrase head trauma. Oh, Kane got head trauma. Kane got head trauma. Like, we get it, right? Like, but no, Kane suffered head trauma or whatever. It was actually absolutely insane. Kurt Angle had plenty of awareness in this match. I guess the head trauma that Kane had, it just kept him from winning the match because there was a couple of spots where okay, boom. I think Kurt Angle got hit with the choke slam, and he's just like, puts his hand on was it his hand or his foot? It was either his hand or his foot on the rope to break the pin. Right. So, got that awareness. Meanwhile, Kane with the head trauma can't win. There was this one thing I want to say Jerry Lawler said, something about Olympic champion neck. And I was just like, hey, yo, what are you talking about? Like, relax, cut that out. That nobody wants to hear about that. But overall, another solid match. Like it's just banger after banger after banger. This one, I think this one ran a little longer, but definitely another match I wish there was a little bit more of. But solid performance from both wrestlers. Kane doing Kane things and Angle being Angle. I loved it. Oh, one more comment. Apparently, if you ask the great Grand Slam Pooba about this, Kurt Angle was photoshopped with hair during this match. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out as well.
Damn, beat me to the joke by 1 second. Listen, Kurt Angle. Listen, I'll say and says Kurt Angle became a weapon once he got rid of that hair. That hair was holding him back. That's what happened. He entered his. I forgive me because I feel like people who watch Dragon Ball might sit here and crap on me. Is Gold Piccolo something? I want to say there's a gold, yellow Piccolo.
Orange. It's an orange Piccolo, but yeah, it's almost gold, depending on what. But it's mostly orange.
I guess what I was trying to sit here and say, Kurt Angle reached another form when he shaved his hair off. But this match was fun. This match was fun. What Mark Wynn said, I can hear that. I feel like the match was digestible, but it did make you go like, man, I think another 5 minutes they could have really cooked something. Because I thought what they got here for 10 minutes, it was a solid match. I don't think anyone's going to be mistaking this for match of the night or anything like that. There's nothing I can look at this match and say like, man, this was something wrong here. Kurt Angle is, I mean, I'm gonna get to Kane in a minute, but Kurt Angle is fucking great. I mean, like, I feel like that's everyone's sentence when it comes to Kurt Angle. He gets it. He's the guy who's almost for overall, he's like that wrestler because you always talk about promos, you talk about in ring work. I feel like there's another element that I'm missing here, and I mean, he got the character. I mean, he has personality. I mean, he's overall like like not everyone can have all that, and for him to be able to do that is amazing. And Kane, oh man, Mass Kane was just a unit, man. Like I was watching him, and I just said, I said, yo, he was nightmares. He was literally nightmares, you know. But the match was fine. I'm sorry. I did not peep. Mark Wood said he said a big neck. I'm just, oh, I love that Mark heard that. And Mark, I'm so childish, but it was a good match. These guys went out there, and it was a good match. It was fine, and Kane sold it well. But like the head trauma thing is hilarious. Like, look, head trauma. He's Kurt Angle Irish whooped this man. Oh look, head trauma. I was like, what? What are you talking about? This is as bad as when Mr. Anderson he was feuding with Kurt Angle on TNA. I think it was 2010, and he said, "Look, I walked my dog. I broke my neck." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I don't think that's how that works. That's what every time King who's doing that. But Rich Cage, please take the floor. I'm so sorry.
No, this is all great shit. It's all great shit. I love it. I love it. I think Kurt Angle, like, so we watched wrestling. We watched it over the years, and here comes Brock Lesnar, Suplex City. Let's talk about who built Suplex City. And if you're looking at this match alone, Kane was building buildings with Kane. Like poor Kane got almost every suplex. And then he got belly to bellies. He got the Germans, the three Germans in a row. He got the belly to belly at the top of the ropes. He was getting owned. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the fact. Even though I was kind of disappointed how Kurt Angle went, I was happy he won, but I wanted him to break his freaking ankle. I know he didn't break his ankle. I know he didn't tap out, but I wanted to see that in WrestleMania. That's what I wanted to see as a kid, and I wanted to see it again. Fast forward a few more years later, there was a spot where Kurt Angle went to the top ropes. He's like, I don't think this is gonna work. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he doesn't do stuff like that. So he was trying, pulling out all the stunts. Kurt Angle, one thing about Kurt Angle that I always enjoyed, and I think thanks to you guys, I started enjoying some of his TNA work because I was unfamiliar with that catalog that he had available over there for us. But he was just like a menace. And JR mentioned it. He's the first ever Grand Slam champion in his first 2 years of the company. Like that's a wrestling machine right there. Like who gets all these belts so fast and standing on 10 toes and keep doing what he was doing for so long. Kurt Angle was just amazing. I was happy he won the match. I think he's somebody that I don't think gets their props enough. And Kurt Angle just showed us how it was done. So
So
thank you, Kurt
I mean,
Angle. No, go on.
he is getting. And my apologies on interrupting, but he is on social media. You do see people giving him his flowers. I mean, one of the things I do appreciate, well, a lot of people who are his fans. There was a time where they had a nickname for him that was, that he said out loud. I'm not a fan of that because that was at me out of my dark time when they were called Perk Angle. So he wasn't a fan of that. But the fans in the society, the real fans, when they realize that now they just say peak angle. I'm sorry, peak angle, which I think is a much appropriate name. And I mean, when you look at his body of work, I think people are realizing, like as you go along, like man, this guy had a catalog of great matches and promos. Like this guy is someone that, I mean, he just gets it, man. He gets it so much. He gets it. I mean, um, I feel like if I didn't watch wrestling much earlier and I was introduced to Bret Hart, I think Kurt Angle would have been a guy for me just because he kind of reminds me of um, he kind of reminded me of Owen just because he can go in the ring, but he's also comical at the same time. Like he's a funny dude. So yeah, shout out to Kurt.
Yes, Pete Kurt, love it. He was great, and this was pre-Pete Kurt, and he was on a different level. So that led us over to our next match. You know, so what was the segment? Was who was in the Rumble? Rock was in the Rumble, and I think this is where Ric Flair came out of No Way Out and decided to insert his business in Undertaker's business, and Undertaker just, if you saw that promo video, Undertaker was coming for blood. Like, I want you at WrestleMania. And he got his son, he got his best friend, he was coming to his house. Taker was not stopping. I think Charlotte was lucky that he didn't come for Charlotte next. So it was one of those things where Taker was just, I'm coming for everybody to get affiliated with. So, you know, Ric Flair finally gives in. He's like, yeah, I'm going to come and do it. And, you know, we got the WrestleMania match. So I'm going to go here first, gentlemen. I'm going to pass it over to Mark, and I'm going to go over to the Great. This is one of my favorite Takers because it was just, I don't give a fuck Taker. I'm coming down riding this bike. I'm not smiling with the fans. I ain't doing nothing. And he was strictly about business. And Ric Flair comes in there, and as a fan, even back then, Ric Flair, you had no chance against Taker. Like, zero chance in that fucking wrestling match. But I will admit, as a fan, I got nervous when Arn Anderson gave him that spine buster. And I was like, wait a minute. I had to do the King. So the King says there's a lot of some of his matches when his person is about to get pinned in 3. He says, no, wait. And I was saying, no, wait. As a kid, like, it can't happen like that. And Taker finally kicks out. But it was a great, like, I want to say it was a great match. It was a great way to watch somebody dissemble somebody bit by bit. And you count to 3, no, I'm going to lift your head up. I'm going to give you some more punishment. You know who else got some punishment? The referee got some punishment. He said, you didn't count to 3 fast enough? Boom. And after the match, he raises his hand, and I'm going to clothesline you again. Taker was, I don't understand that. You guys know me, but if this was a video game and he was the final boss, that's final boss antics. No, everybody's getting owned. From you to you, even the fan, you might get owned next. So it was a great showing how to abuse somebody that doesn't belong in the ring, because I was never a Ric Flair fan. And Ric Flair's face was matching his tights. Red. And I loved it. Mark, help us out here. What were your thoughts of this match?
So, like, I didn't get to watch it in 2002 like you guys did. So this is my first time watching it. But even with my first time watching it, because, you know, I am a rookie level wrestling historian. Not to, you know, can't compare to YouTube. But I already knew that, you know, Taker wins this. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, how does he win this? And yes, I'm watching Taker destroy Ric Flair, and he's just, nope, I'm not done yet. Destroys Ric Flair, got the pin. 1, 2, nope, I'm still not done. David Flair comes in, and he gets absolutely rocked. And I just want to say this. I know Rich King's mentioned Charlotte, but Charlotte would have fought back. Like, I don't understand. Like, David just got smoked. He just got rocked. It was ridiculous. And then, you know, Arn Anderson comes in. So once again, I don't have the same perspective that you guys have. I have the perspective of, I didn't see this match before, but I know what's I know the result. So when I see Arn hit this spine buster, I'm just laughing, because I'm like, like, what are you talking about? Like, who are you? Like, this is not, we don't got time for this. So, yeah, Taker comes in, he wins his match, he destroys everybody that comes across his path, including the ref. And I loved it. This was a different type of Taker. Like, this heel Taker. I want to say he was the heel in this match, but like, yeah, it was a really interesting version of Taker, and I enjoyed this match a lot. I did. I really did. He laid waste to everything, and this is like, boom. This is why he has his streak. I know they didn't. I don't think they mentioned it. Did they mention it? I don't know if they mentioned it.
They did say 10-0. King said 10-0. Very loud.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to ask you guys, would you think this was the longest match of the night?
Yeah,
Like
It
what?
was.
it was.
Listen, I mean, we got to have Taker lay waste to everybody. I understand it completely.
The only thing that would have made this better is if he ran over somebody with that motorcycle or tried to run somebody over. That would have made it even better. Try to run over the cameraman or somebody, because when you're a heel, let's take it to another notch. You know, the cameraman filming, let's see how fast you can backpedal. Like, it was just pure entertainment for me, and I loved every bit of that 18 minutes and 47 seconds. Sorry, Mark, to interrupt you. Do you have any more takes or off to the great?
No, I'm good. We go off to the great one.
So this match, one of the things I wanted to throw out here, because one of the notes I got, I love the promo that they have. I was telling Rich Kings before we started to record. I kind of miss when they had promos like this. This is something that just adds to the match and just reminds you on how serious it is and how did we get here. But as I was watching this, I was listening to the music. There was the music that played once Flair hit the fan and he's getting arrested and stuff like that. But I'm listening to the music. I'm like, that music sounds familiar. And that was Lost Resistance theme. They were a tag team that debuted in 2003, a French tag team. But anyway, when I heard it, I immediately said, oh, this is what they do. Like, they have music and they just have it sitting and be like, no, this is your theme now. They might spice it up a little bit, change it up, where things, like the instrument might sound a little different than I forget what they kind of call this stuff when they like just track music that they play. Yeah, but this match here, let me talk about this match. Everyone's gonna talk about the Hogan and Rock match. Understandable. But this kind of stole the show for me. Like, this was such a fun match. This was so fun. I mean, I gave a little I was telling someone that, hey, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania 18 so we could talk about this for the for the YouTube content. And I said I was never big on Flair, never big on Taker, but this is like one of my favorite matches of them. I mean, this was fun. There was so much going on here. I mean, the spot where Flair goes over the ropes and he gets booted out the ring. It was so good. It was really good. And I feel like the stipulation of it being no holds bar, street fight, whatever you want to call it, hardcore match, it did so well because it was able to hide some of Ric Flair's weakness. This was his second match at that point. His first match was at the Royal Rumble of that year. This is his second. And there was this thing I want to say he was saying that he lost his confidence for a bit, and this match kind of woke him back up to remind him of who Ric Flair is. I mean, I don't think I need to go through all the spots here, but it was really, really, it was good. Ric Flair was bleeding. Arn Anderson coming with the spine buster. Like, I mean, the interception was so great too, because I forgot what happened where Taker was running. I think Flair tried to hit him, but he missed. But then out of nowhere, Arn Anderson coming with the spine buster, and you listen, Arn, no, he did some shit because he did this. Like, yeah, like he did a little bit of the arm thing, like, still got it, bitch. And the way he rolled out the ring and Taker laid there, and Taker, and you guys have said it best, Taker was out for blood. So if you touch Taker, he was like, oh, okay. Oh, a target. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed this match. This was so fun. And I felt like this was the first time they acknowledged the streak. Because I remember even as a kid, I didn't think nothing of it. It was like, okay, he wins at Mania. And then when him doing like this and, and them saying 10-0, that for me was the, oh, he doesn't lose here. We just got to give it, a few more years. We'll get there. But it was good stuff. I thought this was and I thought the placement of it on the card, I thought they placed it just right here. Because I think placement is everything, and I think we'll talk about that as the show progresses.
Absolutely. I agree. When you get a little 10 and time to bow out, it was good. I think looking at that kind of like once again back at that time, I know why we watched WWF all the time, right? What we want to see, what match we want to see. And I forgot how meticulous Undertaker was at this WrestleMania. I'm like, what the hell? Loved every bit of it. Next, you was always a WCW guy. You was always a Booker T guy. And I was a little late to the party. But Booker T, so athletic, so good in his prime, I had to be like, damn, what was I missing? Like, I had to think back to myself, like, why wasn't I a fan of this man? So I would love to pass off to you first, and I'll round us out. Mark, you go second. On our match versus Edge versus Booker T, and Edge getting the win in his hometown in Toronto on like Christian, which I meant to say. I love how Christian changed where he was from. I love the messages. Christian out here from Tampa, Florida, and King's like, what? Love that. But
that's good. That's very good.
Some guy getting his little props, everything like that, versus Booker T, and I feel like Booker T, he got somewhat of a pop, but not the pop that Edge got. But one thing and I'm gonna pass it to you, and I'll talk a little bit right here, right now. But you know when they showed the camera across the fans, I didn't see a lot of people looking happy with this result. Maybe it was just me. What did you guys see? I'm gonna pass up to you, the great, first, and then Mark, and I'll round us out.
I'll let you talk about the crowd when Mark wins because I didn't peep that, so I'm interested in hearing what you saw there in the crowd. This match, so it's hilarious when you watch it back. It opens up all the memories that you remember at the time of this event, right? I remember a sign that I saw years later, and it's hilarious because it describes this whole thing. They're fighting over a shampoo commercial. Like, literally the feud is because Booker T thought he should be in it, but Edge got it. And then Booker T said, I hate you. And he said, I hate you back. Now let's have a match. Where? WrestleMania. This is fine. I mean, like, I don't really have so much to talk about it. Booker T is great. Booker T is fantastic. Booker T, just this past Tuesday, I didn't get a chance to do an NXT review show on Unpopular View Network, but Booker T had his appreciation night, which was interrupted because it's wrestling. But everyone knows that Booker T, he deserves his flowers. I'm glad one Rich Kings, because it happens. I think it's happened to me too. As I got older, I see certain wrestlers, and I'm like, I should have gave this dude a chance. I don't know what I didn't see. But Booker T has always been great. I feel like in WWE, he got a chance to really, really spread his wings, his acting range too. And I mean, because come on, King Booker, he was dedicated to that shit, man. Like, he was totally dedicated. Black Snow, come on. Stop it. So Booker T, Edge winning, I remember at the time, and I think you do too, Rich Kings, they saw someone on Edge and they were putting a rocket on him. I mean, the year prior, he was the king of the ring. Then he won the Intercontinental Championship. They split him and Edge and split him and Christian up. And you could tell who they were favoring more. I think they did like Christian, but they were like, we have you here, though. We like you, but we don't want you here. But with Edge, they were like, we're pushing him. We want to do this and that. I mean, think about the people he was rubbing shoulders against. I mean, he won the tag team titles later that year with Hogan. He was in championship matches against Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar and all these big names. I mean, you could just, like, as I'm looking at this, I was like, yeah, they liked Edge and they saw a vision on him and they wanted to do this with him. So it was fine. Oh, I'm sorry, Rich Kings. I'm done.
So once again, rookie wrestling historian here. This is another match where, even though I hadn't seen it, I already knew who was going to win because at this point, well, I don't know how established Edge's streak was, but he did go undefeated until he went up against Undertaker at WrestleMania. So yeah, he had his own little streak going. So I already knew Edge was winning. And I'm watching this match like, damn, like this match wasn't as interesting as Taker versus Flair, other than, it was Booker T and it was Edge. So it was a cool little match. I don't know if I liked Booker T's gimmick, but I don't have enough context on it where, like, he's acting like he's smart. He's supposed to be smart. Now, granted, I know Booker T is smart, but like this particular gimmick, like a little bit of the 2 seconds I saw of it, I didn't really like it. Like, I get it was supposed to be a comical thing, but I don't know. I didn't like it. But Booker T rarely, if ever, disappoints in the ring, and this match was as solid as this match could have possibly been. I did enjoy it for the 2 seconds that it was, even though I knew who wins it. But I did not expect Edge to do an execution. I don't remember the last time I seen an execution as a move in general. So when I saw he won with that, I was like, look at that. That execution. But I don't really have much to say about this match. It kind of, like I said, I kind of just watched it. It was enjoyable. It wasn't a terrible match. But we'll get to the terrible match. We're coming across it, but yeah, I don't have very many. Yeah, I'm actually kind of sort of indifferent to this match, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
You know, I honestly think that this match could have been placed up a little higher, actually. And I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm sorry, Rich King, but and that's what I was saying, match placement, because this going on right after Undertaker bloodied up Ric Flair just seems like a terrible idea. But go ahead, Rich King. So my apologies for stepping in.
No, I agree. I think the match placement here could have been a little bit earlier, or a little bit maybe. Yeah, just earlier. It could be the second match or not, or it could have been a tone setter to start off the match, depending on how you want to book this, right? And I do think that. Well, one thing I'll talk about, I haven't heard that theme song. You know what the themes are, so for that, I haven't heard that theme song in such a long time. So I was like, wait a minute, I had to do a double take, and I'm on the spot that if I see or hear something good, I rewind it about like 2 or 3 times. I just want to hear it again and see it again. So it was great to hear that beginning and that buzz and the fans just tuning into that piece was great. Like I said, I think this match, I agree with you guys. It wasn't like match of the night. It wasn't the worst possible match, but it was just it's just a regular match. I do think that if there was a little bit more chemistry with both of those individuals, or like in general, it could have made it better. One thing I did want to highlight is that we saw Booker T's athleticism, right? We saw him do those scissor kicks, those spinning kicks, and when Edge went for the spear, he jumped all the way up, and they had to show that in the replay. I don't think they've seen that quite a few times. Most people do the side swipe, the Bret Hart. You know, he grabs the ropes and he moves so quick to the left to avoid a spear like that. Nobody, he's not going to jump up and down the way how Booker T did. But it was a good match for what it was, but it wasn't just going to, wow our seats. And it is what it was. I did not like the result. I thought when Booker T hit the scissors kick, he should have went for the pin. I don't understand what happened there. I'm a little lost. But I guess between that and the booking, he was his finishes, but I don't know. I just didn't get it. I felt that the match was for Edge. He had the execution. It was aimed for that piece. Next match here, Stone Cold versus Scott Hall with Kevin Nash. So,
but wait. Sorry. Question: do we want to talk about how Mighty Molly became hardcore champion real quick?
Mark, take us away. You go to that piece.
So in between these two matches, Hurricane, he's being a little sneaky about it, like, oh yes, I got the champion, but I know what time it is. This is the hardcore championship. And then here's Mighty Molly pulls up. Definitely Mighty Molly, not Molly Holly. And out of nowhere, I think she sucker punches him. Does he sucker punch her? I don't remember exactly what happened. It was either a sucker punch or the frying pan. Yes, it was the fry. He goes like that point straight out of a cartoon. Wins the championship. And I'm just like, yes, 11 out of 10. It continues.
There was a segment right before that when the Godfather hoes were in the back talking about how big or small they were, and he had the broom, and it King. The one made that segment was King like, oh wait, no, he was like, he's a Superman, and then when whoever grabbed the broom, and he's like, what? It was. I can't do King's voice, but he is just something else. There's only one King. So when that happened, when they were doing a tug of war with a broom, and he's just like, stop. It was just too much. That whole skit with King, that whole thing was just awful. It was just funny, but it's awful. But you guys want to say something, Great?
No, I was just laughing at all the stuff that was happening because there was a lot of chaos going on here. So no, I thought that was funny, and it was great that it was great to see that the Godfather found a way to get on WrestleMania somehow by just making sure that his people were okay, his hoes were all right.
Yes, and very, very rarely the mid-card stuff get like a lot of let's say video packages, but the video package for Scott Hall and Stone Cold, in case you missed it, it was pretty good. So
it was good.
Stone Cold comes in the ring first, and then goes the NWO music, and that's classic. Like the black and white interrupted when somebody's there. Just one of the best overall wrestling things of all time, period, in my estimation. And they come down the ring in the black and white. And there was Skull this to the back. And JR King's like, who's he pointing to? And here goes Kevin Nash. And immediately you see So Cold. What the fuck is that? Asking the referee. What is that? Like, is this a handicap match? It was great. Like, So Cold being shot. Like, obviously, we know wrestling's wrestling. But he paid it to the T. The cameraman, filmed it in the right appropriate moment. King and King and JR just bitching about what's going on. King's like, yeah, maybe he needs to be here. He's giving the fans what he wants. That's what we're doing. We're giving the fans what they want to see. And it was great commentary. The match wasn't all that good. I'm a Scott Hall fan. And I felt like they didn't do Scott Hall justice inside this match. And I don't know what Scott Hall was going on, but he had enough offense in. But if you know Scott Hall, you know Scott Hall. And I just expect a little bit more in that match with Scott Hall. I think he got stunned maybe 3 or 4 times. It was just like, what is happening? But it got to a point where, you know me, the theme of this WrestleMania is the WrestleMania where the referees get abused. When he got that stunner in the middle of the match, and Kevin Nash was like, this is what you need best friends for. He ran around that ring and got that referee out. I had to rewind that 5 times because it was beautiful. Watching him chug around the ring and pull the referee out. Then, when So Cold gets another stunner, and then here comes his referee sliding into the ring. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? And then he gets what he gets. It was beautiful. I love referee abuse. I'm like, if you know me and these podcasts, if a referee gets abused, 10 stars. So I had to give them, even though Scott Hall was a good showing, this was a 10-star match because I saw like 2 or 3 referees get abused. And then David King was like, well, who's the referee now? Is he? He was even confused, even though if that referee with amazing stamina came back in and gave us the final count. But one thing about Scott Hall, even though I said they're doing justice, I think a lot of people think The Rock sells the son the best.
Oh, here we go.
Scott Hall, man.
Yes. And that was something. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'll give you the floor next. Mark, you round us out. But Scott Hall, he sold that stunner, man. Right? It was due. And he collected every piece of that check. Great. What you got next to that?
I love that you said that. That was one of the things I wanted to put out there because we all do say The Rock. Rock does. It's comical how The Rock sells it. But Scott Hall, I sometimes, like, when he would jump in the air, I'm like, where are you going? Like, you live on Earth. There's a great video. Someone edited one where Stone Cold stuns him and he jumps so high he leaves the stadium and he goes into the atmosphere and then he falls back into the thing and it's so hilarious. If I can find the clip, I'm gonna send it to you guys. It's really great stuff. I can't sit here and say, man, this match was so great or whatever. I remember as a kid, I just remember how excited I was to see the NWO at WrestleMania, because to me, I just didn't think that could ever be a thing. They were over here, WWE's over here. Something like, man, somehow, some way we get this, you know, and I think for a lot of us, it was Stone Cold Hogan, right? I don't think a lot of people saying Stone Cold against Scott Hall. But nonetheless, still, when I think about that but the Monday Night Wars, I think about the NWO, and they somehow get involved. So just seeing that, them coming out to the NWO music, and I just remember, it just took me back, man. But yeah, no, this match is not something like I would never tell people, like, if you're an inspiring young wrestler, watch this match. I might say watch this match on what not to do. You know, talking about chemistry and stuff like that. And also too, Scott Hall's selling, because I say Scott Hall's selling, but also Scott Hall, he has a mean right hand. Like, he just loves to throw that fist. One of my favorite ones, maybe one day we'll revisit it, but this is when TNA first moved to Monday nights, and Mick Foley gets beat up by Kevin Nash, Sean Wortman, and Scott Hall. And Scott Hall does this fantastic punch. It's so great. It's just, it's a great punch. All you gotta do is study Scott Hall's punch, is my point. So yes, it just didn't do anything for me match wise.
I found the match. Yeah, I found the match entertaining because, if anything, because the refs was getting their ass kicked all over the place. It was great. It was interesting because I did not know that. I had known about the Stone Cold versus Scott Hall match. I did not know that it took place in the same WrestleMania as Rock and Hogan for some reason. I don't know why I didn't put two and two together. So I was like, oh, okay. And then Nash pulls up, and I'm like, we're in for a show. Now, I agree. It could have been better. The chemistry was a little off, but the outside of that, I thought I was thoroughly entertained. If only because, like I said, and like Rich King said, these refs, they were getting laid to waste. Like Austin hits the stun on one Scott Hall, and then the ref, he like runs around to the side and he's like, "Let me dangle my legs off the bed." And here comes the boogeyman, Mr. Nash. Whoosh! Absolutely not. This match is not done yet. And then so now we have no refs. And then I believe, once again, Rich King said, Scott Hall gets with, I think, the second of 4 stunners at this point. And boom, we got the match, right? No, we don't have the match. But, we're sitting here. And then out of nowhere, here comes this ref with this baseball slide. 1, 2, Nash. And you're out. He just gets him out of here. It was absolutely insane. They dragged this match, and I loved every second of this match being dragged out. Could have been a little better because we needed more chemistry between the 2/3. Yeah, sure. But I think that these 3 guys, well, I got 6 guys considering the 3 refs, they did the best they could with the cards that they were given, because I was entertained. I loved it. I did enjoy this match.
I love that.
I do wish that a lot of hindsight, you do kind of wish that NWO was, a year earlier. I want to say a year earlier, part of the invasion, but
sure.
If wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean, right?
Talking about those devilly referees, they come in packs. So when they came to get Kevin Nash, if I'm Kevin Nash, I'm pushing you out the way to get out of here. Like, why? I'm Kevin Nash. How dare you try to escort me out, kick me out the ring?
Kevin Nash.
I'm Kevin Nash. I'm Big Sexy. I'm Big Daddy Cool. I'm Diesel. No, I'm not leaving.
I'm 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm not leaving. So I think that's where the match turned a little bit for the worse with Scott Hall, because Scott Hall's like, what the hell's going on? And it just wasn't it wasn't meant to be. Unfortunately for one of my guys, Scott Hall. Next
that
we
is
have,
your guy.
Huh? Yeah.
I was saying that's your guy. Yeah.
The outsider, the insider, the NWO guy, he's everything. All right, so I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but one of us dislike this next match coming up. And, I forgot that Dudley Boys changed their theme around this time. So we're getting saliva, like, I'm like, what's happening here? I'm like, I forgot. I'm like, what are they talking about? And I heard tables. I'm like, oh, this is the Dudley Boys. I was so, get the tables. I was like, oh, I like this one now. It was chaos, like a whole song for them to come down to the ring. I'm like, damn, this is like 5 minutes. So it was good enough. You get APA, who got almost, thanks for coming. Like, no reaction. Like, okay. Because it's so bad. They're marching themselves to the ring and people are like, nothing. Then you hear the Hardy Boys and everybody almost goes crazy, right? And then you have one of my favorite boy band songs of all time.
Yeah.
The great. How does it start off?
You are so good to me.
And I don't know what is happening after that, but that entrance in the beginning was something else. But you know what? Before we get into this, Mark, we have Mark's bookings, and I'm just gonna ruin it for everybody. Billy and Chuck wins the match. They win the match. APA, we already know they weren't winning this match. Eliminated almost immediately. After Bradford gives a close out from hell to somebody, he immediately gets a 3D. He's out. Then the Dudley Boys, thanks for coming. Devon goes through a table. Billy Ray gets he gets the twist of fate to the Swanton. Thank you for coming. And then Billy and Chuck, they still do win after that. Not the best match. Huh? I'm sorry?
Can I just say real quick, because I want you to finish. I just wanted to cut you off real quick because you said Devon went through a table. No, he went through his own table. I just wanted to clarify that.
His own table. I mean, there's wrestling and then there's bloopers, and then there's like this is what happens to Devon. Devon get the table, Devon goes through the table. It's just like that. So, wasn't favorable results for our guy Mark Wednesday. So we got a little segment called Mark's Bookings. Cue the music.
Let's do it.
Fuck!
That always cracks me up. Go ahead, Mark.
So this was far and away for me the worst match of the night. Like there was so much wrong with it. I don't like there was the placement in the card. There was the results. Like so at first because I watched this match and I was disgusted, and I was like, let me watch the rest of this WrestleMania to see what happens, right? And I was gonna rearrange like the whole card to help fix this match, but like if you're really gonna have Billy and Chuck win this match for some reason, I guess this is actually theoretically the best possible placement for it, because you do want that lull of energy before we get to what apparently is not the main event of the night, right? But that's a whole other take. Like I said, I could have went rearranging the card for the main event to be the actual main event. But to be fair, that's looking at this match. That's looking at this with 2026 odds. At the end of the day, in 2002, you want your championship matches, regardless of what the hell's going on, I think, to be your main event. So it makes sense. So I'm not going to talk about that. But as far as this match, I still think that perhaps this match switches spots with Booker T and Edge, because Booker T and Edge was kind of sort of a lull in energy as well. Meanwhile, you have not one, not two, but 4 tag teams in this match. You got the APA, you got 3D, you got the Hardy Boys, and you got Billy and Chuck for some reason. First of all, Billy and Chuck should not be winning anything in a WrestleMania. I don't know what the context is in 2002 and why they got the championship and why they got the tag team belts and why they proceeded to win the tag team belts in 2022. I mean, in 2002, and why they barely did anything in this match. Like we have APA, they come in and they're looking dominant, and the next thing you know, they're gone. And then the match literally transforms into a Hardy Boys versus Dudley Boys match. Like, that was the crux of the match. Like, they were in there for mad long, and then Devon goes to his own table, holding Bubba back as usual, and soon after they're eliminated, and then Billy and Chuck, they leave with the belts, and I just don't. And I'm flabbergasted by this. I'm just like, yo, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, I'm like, Billy and like. The phrase that was going on in my head, and I don't know how to implement it in this particular segment, was Billy and Chuck, what the fuck? And then here's the other thing. I didn't even recognize Chuck Palumbo at first. I was like, who the fuck is Billy and Chuck? And I'm looking, I'm like, I didn't even recognize. I'm like, is that Chuck Palumbo? Why'd they do this to him? I was so confused. But like, this is the match I rebook. If like I said, if you're gonna have Billy and Chuck win, this is probably the spot if you're going to have them win in this manner, then I guess this is the proper spot to have it on the card. But me personally, I'm switching this spot with a Booker T and Edge. And first of all, the APA is not gone in 2 seconds. I'm not doing that. That just doesn't make any sense. Once again, I don't have the 2002 context, but APA in my mind does not get eliminated in 2 seconds. And if we're gonna have Billy and Chuck win these titles, I need them to do more. I need them to do more heel shenanigans. It gotta be more heel shenanigans. It's gotta be rapid fire heel shenanigans, or they don't just win, or they just don't win. And like I said, I get it. You got Billy and Chuck win because we're before the next match, Hogan and Rock. But no, fuck all that. Switch this match around. We don't have Billy and Chuck win. We'll have 3D win. If you really don't want the Hardys to win because you don't want the energy to get too crazy, too high, because the Hardys did get the best pop of the 4 tag teams, cool. But then give it to 3D. Give it to the Dudley Boys. But yeah, no, this match was out of this match was ridiculous. It's not that I didn't like how it was booked, right? Like that's really what it boils down to. Because like, and then my other thing is like Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo are not bad wrestlers, so like have them do heel shit. Like I feel like if it's WrestleMania and they're supposed to be I'm running out of time. My bad. If it's WrestleMania and they're supposed to be the boy band or whatever, have them do like boy band shit. I don't know what the fuck boy band shit is supposed to be. Once again, I don't have the context. Them champions need to do. I don't know. If you ask me, like I said, Dudley Boy should have went over, especially if you're gonna turn it into a damn a SmackDown match, because that's what this felt like. This did not feel like a WrestleMania match. This felt like a SmackDown, a Heat, a Raw match. This was bad. I ain't like it. Give it to the Dudley Boys, please, and have APA stay in the match a little bit longer. Because what the hell?
I love the energy. I love the energy about APA, because I mean I know that they have their fans, and we've seen one right here, and I love that, where you're just like, hey, they should have been. And I get why you say that, because they one of their shirts literally said "pounding ass," so they were pounding a lot of ass, and all of a sudden they get eliminated. I don't know why. That is just so funny to me, because really. So I think Rich King's. Let's talk about it, right? When the tag team division, APA was never like, the top 3. I mean, it was really Dudley's, Hardy's, Edge, and Christian. APA was there when they didn't need another tag team to fill a role, because I mean, you did have to change it up a little bit. That Too Cool wasn't a thing anymore at this point, but them Too Cool, Ty Khan and stuff like that. Like there was those other. That's where they were. And them being even on the card, and I don't say this with any disrespect. I think JBL, he's one of my favorite heroes of all time. But them being on the Mania card is actually, because I can't think of what they did to be on the card. Like I can see the Hardys, Billy and Chuck, their tag team. It's funny. They're not top 5 for me or anything like that, but they were an interesting tag team. They would do things that, people were like. I mean, you remember Billy and Chuck? You don't remember the storyline where they were getting married? I mean, I know you remember Rich King, but Mark.
It was a whole skit, though. It was a part of the SmackDown versus Raw fiasco. It was good how it came out, because we had 3 people.
It was a great piece of business, but I just want to say, Mark did the Keenan gif.
Well, listen, do yourself a favor. Watch the Billy and Chuck wedding.
Yeah,
and you will like through the whole thing. You will like how it ends. Like it was actually pretty entertaining, and that's the prime of SmackDown versus Raw, because you had Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon. I don't want to ruin too much for you, but that was great. That was great. And listen,
it was.
I'll say this about APA. Like, even though they got the Thanks for Coming montage. Like, they both hit their finisher. I don't know if you realize Farouk hit that spine buster on the outside to somebody.
He hit it like 3 times, bro.
Yes. And then somebody closed out from hell, and then he gets 3D. Like, it was something else. I was like, you know what? We'll give you enough. And enough was enough. So, listen, they were just a filler. They don't want.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
We weren't going to Vegas saying AP is winning this match. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah, look, I didn't really want APA to win the match, because I expected them to win the match. I saw them, I was like, all right, cool. Somebody gonna get their ass kicked for 2 seconds. I didn't mean that literally. Like, I was like, what's going on? Like, what?
And the bad thing with the APA, it stands for Protection Agency. What's it? Alcohol Protection Agency? They can't even protect them all. Yeah. They're out. It's like, I'm not even hiring y'all. You can't even do yourselves justice. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? All right, so moving on to the next match. Listen, growing up, I think everybody around my circle knows that I was a Rock fan. It's just plain and simple. Rock, right? And I did think that this should have been a main event. So I heard what you just said a few moments ago, but I do think that when you have a poster and it's 2 people that's not in the main event, And we're talking icon versus icon at the time, and essentially passing the torch. And honestly, that torch didn't last too long because The Rock was sayonara, like nobody's business soon anyway.
Like
So it
literally
was,
later that year.
I didn't think they knew that was happening at the time, right? But when you think about charisma versus charisma, and I'm not saying that Chris Jericho and Triple H couldn't deliver that, because I think we both are on the same page. The great where we think the world of Jericho. I'm not saying we think the world of Triple H, but I just don't think that Jericho and Triple H is going to be better than The Rock versus Hogan, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think when you see the entrance from Hogan when he first came out, right? The crowd that ended up was getting back to that classic era, the NWO entrance with the static, and then boom, here comes Hogan. He has the feathers. The crowd's eating it up. When that man ripped that shirt, I felt like I was getting goosebumps all over again because people were eating it up. And I'm a big believer of like the fans help any kind of arena, whether it's sports, whether it's in wrestling, they make that. And if Hogan came out and did all that, he got like the mute, like we're doing the Beyonce mute challenge, and he got nothing, it would have been the same. But everybody was eating it up because it's Hogan back in WWF, and he's a villain. He's been NWO. We haven't seen it before. We wanted to see it. Wrestling fans, it was crazy. And here comes The Rock with his music. Most people like The Rock, but you could tell though when even he came out, the crowd was at 50-50. Listen, we like The Rock, but we were hoping a little bit more. Some people, right? And he got this Sky Dome, Jinx, all this other shit that's happening. But that's the whole aura of that match. I don't think that in that time frame, I don't know if WWF expected that kind of fanfare and that kind of anticipation. And throughout the match, you could almost hear the fans gasping and holding on to every breath of the match. By far, do I think it was one of the best wrestling matches of all time? I do not. But when I think about from a fan perspective and what led from that was just pure gold. It was so gold they had to do The Rock and Hogan again the following no way out. And The Rock won how he won, but that led to The Rock cutting one of the best promos he's ever cut again in Toronto. And just rip that fan base apart. There were so many, I would say, things that happened from that. I think WWF realized, okay, we still got gold with Hogan because people still love Hulkamania. And Hogan, how he was able to cut that promo. And I think the difference between The Rock and the Austins and Scott Hall and Stone Cold's promo versus Hogan and The Rock. Hogan and The Rock could talk mic for mic. And it left you boom for boom. And they wrestled like that in the match. It was boot for boot, elbow for elbow, finisher for finisher, and gasp for gasp. That they just really, I didn't realize at the time how similar they were in the ring of that. Like Hogan has his Hulkamania things. The Rock got his slap, spit in the finger slap. Very similar things, but different at the same time. And look at them; they have very underwhelming finishers. That leg drop, I feel about this. The great and Bishop gets a leg drop, you should lose. Hogan's leg drop.
Said that.
What? Rock with a people's elbow. If Big Show gives me an elbow, I should lose. The Rock with his people's elbow is over, right? So they both have very similar movesets, but different parts of the body, and I didn't realize that until watching this match again. Good enough match. I think was probably the second best match of the card they had available based off of chemistry. So when you think about most of the matches I didn't see on the card lacked chemistry, and I think for them, they had some of the best chemistry I've seen all night on that WrestleMania card. So that's just my 2 cents. Mark, I'm going to pass it to you, and the great you round us out.
Mark wins.
I think
big deal.
Huh? Back. All right.
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, cool. The one thing I noticed about these big deal Hogan matches is Hogan knows how to tell a story in the ring. And I don't think there's anybody that has done it better. And you guys probably have examples and you probably have wrestlers that no, so-and-so did it better. Cool. Understandable. I'm not going to argue with it. I'll defer to you guys. But the matches I'm thinking Hogan versus Andre the Giant. I'm thinking Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. I'm thinking Hogan versus Rock. I'm even thinking Hogan versus Sting in TNA. I don't remember if it was 2010 or 2011. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I remember when I watched 2011, yeah. So like in that particular match, that match wasn't necessarily, you know, the work rate match of the night, but they told the best story out of everybody in that entire night between Hogan and Sting. He does it better than anybody I've particularly ever seen. Once again, I'm sure you guys can remind me. Oh, like for example, maybe Cena's done it better. Cool, understandable. For me, Hogan got that in-ring storytelling down pat, and Rock is up there too, because Rock is feeding in right in there with it, and it definitely has something to do with like the way they. It has something to do with the way they exaggerate their characters in the ring, because like you'll see it in WWE, right? They'll have like there'll be a big impactful moment, and then there'll just be this pause. But this pause, it feels kind of dead to me. It's just like, all right, cool, your pause, that's cool. We see emotion, but why do I care about your emotion? Like with Hogan and Rock, there was a pause, and there's some type of character oozing from each of them. So whether it's Hogan doing the muscles and hearing the crowd, or whether it's Rock and you know he's out here talking shit, or he's slowly turning his head, looking at the people that are clearly betraying him because they're booing him and they want Hogan to win. I loved it. This was my match of the night, and it will always be my match of the night. The first time I saw this match, it was not in 2002. It was in 2010, I think. I remember watching it because Hogan had came back in TNA or whatever, and I'm like, why they bring his man back? And then I started watching. No, I'm lying. It was 2011. Now that I remember, because I did watch in 2010. It was Hogan and whatchamacallit, Ultimate Warrior, and Hogan and Andre the Giant. In 2011, there were people comparing the Hogan and Sting thing to the Hogan and Rock. That's the first time I watched that match, and I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, this is still my match of the night. This definitely should have been the main event. But once again, I think if you guys can correct me on this, I think we're looking at it with the eyes of 2026. I don't think matches like this would have been main event in 2002 because there's championship matches. Like, because I believe that the next two matches were championship matches. So like, I guess those have to be the main event, right? But this probably should have been the main event.
No, I agree with you. I think in the 2002 lens, I don't know how you do not put this at that time. You have to not put this in the main event because it's the championship. It's your crown jewel. Like it's like, you know, it's the main event. It's because you win the Royal Rumble and you go on to main event WrestleMania. That was the slogan. You go on to main event WrestleMania, and I think that is the sole reason why. The only way they would have fixed that is to make up some Fugazi match and No Way Out and be like, you're stripped for your, Triple H, you're out. We're going to make it Rock versus Hogan for the that's the only way to even elevate that match another notch, is to make that a championship match. Could you imagine if that was a championship match? Forget about it.
It would have been interesting, but I think this match with this magnitude, it didn't need it. I do think, and I think it is, what Mark was saying. I mean, we were watching wrestling at that time. It was always you went up the Rumble and you punch your ticket to main event. I kind of wish that they did peak like, this is a really special attraction match, and they realized like, for the first time, let's just break tradition, and let's put this match on last because this has a little bit more weight. I mean, when you look at this story and the story that Triple H and Jericho was telling, it's clear as day that this one had a lot more juice to it than the stuff with Triple H and Jericho. And I don't know, but I feel like it's been said that they tried to switch the match, but they just wanted to stick with tradition. But I don't know. Don't quote me on it. Please don't. This match, I agree with Rich Kings. It's not going to go down as the most technically suave match, but I mean, the crowd participation in it just drives you into it because the crowd, once again, it's something I'm pretty sure in today's wrestling, sometimes they get to a crowd and it's not as hot and stuff like that. And you kind of just want that, and the crowd brings you in. This was great stuff. This was some really good stuff. This was a match that, a year or two prior, I didn't think we would ever get that. I remember when we were young and we were kids, we would fantasy book, hey, what would it look like if we had someone from WCW go against this guy from WWF, and all about with fantasy book, and that was like the first time seeing it. At least for me at that point, I want to say like this was the first time you saw the potential of it because we were just so accustomed to using video games and hey, let's make this character and make that character and all that stuff. So this match was fun. It was fun. I mean, it was so good. It was so good that they said, let's do it again. Let's do it at No Way Out. Let's do it in that Toronto crowd once again. I believe that was in Toronto or I forget. I think it was in Canada though when they had it. But this was fine. This was good. I mean, Hogan, he gets kicked out of the NWO. It does make me wonder, like, I don't know, because you guys were talking about maybe making a segment or something like that. Maybe the segment would be, but what if we reverse the decision here? What if Hogan was to beat The Rock? Because like they gave it to The Rock, and it made all the sense in the world. Though they gave it to The Rock, it made sense. That whole year. I mean, 2002 was a really good year for Rock. I mean, he comes back. He was doing movies. He came back, won the Undisputed Championship, dropped it to Brock, but he was beating Hogan. He beat Flair on an episode of. I mean, he was literally he was kind of the original legend killer. He was just beating people. I think they were trying to get Andre, but they couldn't get on contact with Andre the Giant. But just my point in saying is Rock was beating all these legends. But I go out here. Let me just go here. What do you guys think it looks like if Hogan was to beat Rock at WrestleMania 18? And I'll let Mark get a moment to think here. I'm gonna give it to Rich Kings here first. Here, what do you think that looks like? Hogan beating Rock?
It looks like complete total chaos in my mind. Like, what are we doing? What's the point? Like, listen. I don't. If he wins as the bad guy and NWO, right? Where do you turn the NWO story, right? So I don't know what happens. Did we get Shawn Michaels in the NWO for that hot second or the hot week or two that he was in the NWO? Do we get how long do you drag out the NWO with Hogan? Do we get maybe Nash versus Hogan? I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. And what does it look like for The Rock moving forward, right? So how does he get that belt? How does he pass the torch over to Brock? Because I don't know if they know what was happening with The Rock in Hollywood at that time. And maybe let's been hindsight. Let's say they did know what's going on. Are we going to give Hogan, like Brock at that time in a ring with Hogan? God bless him. Like, he'll be, like, I don't know. Brock was just an animal at that time when he first came in. And he was kind of, I'm saying, like, I wouldn't say that, Bret Hart wouldn't have been proud of him. But maybe he would have been because he would have been up Hogan. But, like, I do think there's certain things that I don't know where you would have went in 2002 with him winning that match, when you turn him face, and other things like that. Because, like, we think about that 2002 era, like, him turning face after, like, the NWO was pretty much just like, get out. It helped. I think what they identified that night is that we can make a bunch of money with Hogan as a babyface. And I think that's why it made sense for him to lose. So Hulkamania can run wild over the next couple of years. I don't know at what point, if you have to win that match, I don't know how long you keep an NWO. At what sense does that make?
Fair points. Mark wins. I mean, do you have any thoughts? I know like 2002 wasn't a strong year for you, but still, I give you the floor too.
I mean, if Hogan wins that match, I don't think it just changes like the trajectory of, what happens with The Rock or what happens with NWO. That changes, like, it fucks up a certain type of tradition. Like, for example, right, and this is taking a lot of butterfly effects not into account. John Cena beats Gunther. If Hogan beats Rock, John Cena beats Gunther, last year in December 10, 2025. Like, that's what happens. Like, that's the type of thing that happens. Maybe Undertaker's streak lives on forever. He does not lose to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. He goes 24, 25, 26-0 whenever he decides. Like, I'm not a wrestling historian, so I don't know if, Hogan losing to Rock is, the start of that, tradition where we're passing the torch. But that's kind of, even though, Rock was only there for a year and a half or whatever after he beats Hogan, that was kind of a big deal. It was kind of a big deal of a torch passing. And if Hogan decides, or whoever booking decides, that doesn't work for me, brother, it changes. It changes more than just the trajectory of 2002, 2003. I think it changes wrestling as we know it. And I think that you guys would know better than I would know what that would change. Because I'm just looking at it from like 2000, and in terms of WWE, I'm looking at it from like 2000. What was that? I started watching it with you guys back again, 11, 12, from then on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you guys would know better than I would how impactful Hogan winning that particular match would actually end up being.
The only thing I would also say to add on to your question, the great, is Hogan winning as like, it's kind of sounds stupid. I say hope for some young wrestling fans at the time, but it's like, damn, here we go. There's a chance that some people could actually dethrone the greats or whatever. And I think about the Rock. When I think about the Rock in 2002, should not what we see right now. And it's called icon versus icon for a reason, right? Hogan was in movies. Rock just started his career in movies. If he loses, does that take some of his mustard in being a Hollywood superstar? Right? I don't know. So there's certain, like, you know how sports goes. Like, everybody loves like a champion. But if you're not on top, if The Rock was, you know, mid-tier, would he have gotten those opportunities? Because he's a great mic person. I don't know. I just don't know.
Oh, please.
So at one point, Hogan whipped Rock with a belt similar to the belt that Rock whipped Cody with. If Hogan wins, does Rock become the final boss?
You know what? I said that, right? And I had a flashback. I said the same thing with Cody. I said, what if Cody turns heel with that same belt and whips Randy Orton with it, and here comes The Rock? No, we'll save that for our WrestleMania predictions. But just
we're gonna have that. Yep.
Just a thought. Any other thoughts to add to that, the great?
Oh no, I mean, this match was iconic. I mean, this was a match that, once again, I don't think we expected to see it, and it's cool seeing generations clash like that. I mean, something that they were saying on commentary when they were like, "You're not going to see," and think about things like that, like Mike Tyson against Muhammad Ali. How fucking awesome would that have been? And that's something I love about wrestling, where you can get stuff like that. You can get these different generations. Like, even seeing, once again, I talk about Flair and Rock in an episode of Raw, our main eventing. I said, what year are we? What are we doing? Like, what is this? You know, you think about, like, as we get older, well, at least when I got older and started really, really getting into Marvel, and you think about these multiverses and all these different universes colliding, and you just think, man, I don't think I would ever see this. But then you see stuff like this. So it was amazing. I mean, it was an amazing thing. And they couldn't touch it again. I know they tried doing 2003, but I think it was more they had another story they wanted to tell rather than create an iconic moment. But yeah, this was some really good business.
Love it. So going on to two icons, to pretty much like three, I think, honestly, some of our best female wrestlers we ever seen in WWF or WWE in general, right? We think of Lita and her trajectory from where she was with S.A. Rios and then to the Hardys and just being a women's champion, amazing. Trish Stratus, a person that just could not wrestle, had no business even on the side of the ring in her early days with TNA. And then progressed to where she is right now, amazing. And you think about Jazz, who I feel like just does not get any kind of praise that she deserves. And I know at the time we were looking at Jazz, like, damn, like, she is just aggressive. She's just if she wrestled today, I think everybody just watch out. Just it's over. Like, she is just so damn good. I think she was so advanced for Lita and Trish at the time. Watching the moves that she was doing, how she was moving around that ring with such ease, you could tell she was more advanced wrestling wise than those two ladies, and it was almost a joke. One thing I wish I got a chance to see back then was maybe a Jazz versus a China match, because I probably would have been more entertaining to see something like that, because they both are actual wrestlers. They could wrestle at that time. They could actually get up. But I do think someone like Jazz could wrestle in any era that we had in WWE. We talked about eras offline before with the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression and all sort of stuff. Can you imagine Jazz taking on Nikki Bella? Nikki Bella have several seats, and she won't get up. So Jazz winning this match, well, she won in the fireman's fisherman carry off the top rope. Beautiful. In ring awareness, second to none for the women at that time. And for me personally, I just would say I did not appreciate her, and that she was just undervalued in my book at that time. And then watching her again, what was I thinking? So, Mark, you want to go first here?
Yeah, sure. This was a solid match. I hate that Jazz did not get any pop. Like, you're talking about Jazz went unappreciated. Yeah, we saw that, as we were watching the match, because Lita gets a pop, Trish gets a pop, and Jazz just comes out and kicks ass. Like, that's what happened. She pulls up, she gives zero shits, starts attacking, aggressive, like just out of fucking control, and just no reaction. She's the champ, though, right? Like, it was mind blowing to me, because I'm just like, oh, y'all don't know, huh? Y'all really just out here. Y'all just want to see pretty ladies' ass and titties. I think at one point Lita goes up on the rope, on the top rope. She like pulls her shirt up, and here's Jerry Lawler. Oh, the puppies! Like, no, motherfucker. Like, I know you said that Jazz was the better wrestler between the three, but Lita was pretty good as well. If I'm not remembering this correctly or whatever, but like, Lita was pretty good. And then I don't know exactly when Trish started becoming a good wrestler, but Trish was pretty solid in this match as well. I was a little bit surprised that, like, her timing was pretty decent. She didn't really have any type of botches or whatever. Like, she was really hanging in there. Obviously, she wasn't like, the top dog. She wasn't a ring general, but she was not slouching around in this match. I was a little bit surprised, if only because I don't know when exactly Trish decided that, she was going to put in the work and become the wrestler that she ended up becoming. Because it looks like if it didn't start before this match, it started here, because she was putting in the work. She was really good. But this was a solid match. I'm disappointed that Jazz did not get the reaction that she deserved, or the props that she deserves. Because, like, my thing was, they say, what do they say? You can be loved or you can be hated, but the worst thing is the indifference. And it felt like Jazz had indifference. Like, it didn't matter whether she won or lost. Like, there was nothing there, and it really saddened me. And once again, like you said, Rich Kings, 2 decades later, a decade and a half to 2 decades later, you get Jazz and she pops off. You can't not ignore her. Like, she's there. Like, you have to see this and deal with it. And I think my English is a little bit off, but yeah, no, you can't ignore her. You have to acknowledge Jazz is in the ring. Jazz is fucking shit up. But yeah, I enjoyed this match. It was a little, just another one of these. I gotta sit there and say, I'm wondering if today's WWE is messing up my perception of these lengths of matches, because there was a lot of matches that I thought were just a little too short, and I think this is one of them.
No, this was short. Short.
It was.
I think
it was very
like
short.
6 minutes, right? It was like 6 minutes or something like that.
6 minutes and 16 seconds. That's not good enough.
No, and I think also too, when you have that many matches on the card, I think that's why, for me, I'm cool if you cut some matches out and you sit here and go like, hey, let's make, because what we said, 11 matches, and these 11 matches, a lot of them were under 10 minutes, or maybe at least under 10 minutes or something like that. I did not like the placement of this match. I thought that this could have been placed a little higher. I think anything that was going on after Hogan and Rock was death, honestly. I thought, like, when I was watching it, I felt like the crowd wasn't into it. And I don't think this match was horrible, but this wasn't like something I went crazy about. I love that Jazz got the win. I remember us talking about her as a kid when we were kids, and we would always talk about how ferocious, one of the best, and I'll say it again every chance I get, one of the best DDTs we've ever seen, and for a female too. She delivered the hell out of that DDT, and she was just such a different. She was a breath of fresh air in this women's division, something different. She wasn't here to look pretty. She was here to just break girls. She was ready to just hurt them and whatnot. That's why I always thought when Trish beat at the Royal Rumble, I said, "What is this like? Is there a force field that's preventing?" Because once again, it's real to me, so I was trying to make sense of it. And for me, it was just, maybe she slipped on a banana pill and she just couldn't get up or something. Because I just did not understand. Jazz should. My point is this: Jazz should barely lose, like barely. Like if she lose the championship, it's because someone else got pinned, not her. But this was fine. Once again, I just don't like the placement of this match. It was actually when Trish Stratus started to get a little bit better. It was around this time. She was in that six-pack challenge that we did for Survivor Series 2001. She was putting in the work, and she was slowly but surely starting to really find her groove. Because this is 2002. So, yeah, I would say 2002, she was really finding her groove big time. And, as years went on and she really found herself. She became a well put together performer. But I want to say around this time is where she was really starting to put in the work, and before she became the monster and started beating everybody. Because that's when I was like, okay, she's beating everybody. I'm getting annoyed here. But yeah, this was fine. Just I would have had this match almost closing the show.
No, I think yeah, well said. I honestly think she should have a place in WWE Hall of Fame. There's some of these people that I don't see why she's not in there. All right, so on to our main event here, right? Chris Jericho, who is the undisputed champion,
Yep.
versus Triple H, who won the Royal Rumble that year. So they had a little bit of a feud going on, a little backstory we saw with the video montage earlier in the night. It was kind of weird, like even now watching back it again, seeing Stephanie McMahon with Chris Jericho, the
Uh-huh.
insults they traded with each other, and I'm just like, man, I just didn't understand it. But that's just my 2 cents there. One of the biggest Chris Jericho fans I ever known is the Great. And I remember when Chris Jericho won those two titles, that first at was it Armageddon or what was it? What was that pay per view back
No,
then?
Vengeance Day. It was
Vengeance
not
Day, yeah.
Vengeance. The
And it
Vengeance.
was in
Yeah.
December, right?
Yes.
And it's I just couldn't believe that Chris Jericho won. Like, cause back then we didn't have social media to ruin it for us, but we had to honestly wait to figure when things were coming out. And when I heard Chris
Yeah.
Jericho, I was like, "Say that again." So it was one of those things where I was like, I was happy, but I was surprised. So just take us back memory lane. Do you remember when you found out when Chris Jericho was the undisputed champion, and then take us into this match, the Great?
Yes, it was the day after he won it because pay-per-views were pricey, and Mama was like, "Yeah, you'll just have to get the results tomorrow." So I got them tomorrow. I went to school, and people were like, "Jericho won, Jericho won." And I was like, "Whoa, Jericho won!" Because if you remember, for Vengeance Day, Rock, Austin, they were the champions, and the other two in this tournament, a mini tournament, was Kurt Angle and Jericho. Let's be real. No one looked at Kurt Angle or Chris Jericho. Everyone said it's either going to be The Rock or Austin. So hearing Jericho won, I said, "Yo, my boy won." And then like that Monday night, Austin wants a rematch, and it's in a cage match, and I said, "Oh no!" But Jericho won. Like Jericho would just win when it mattered, and it made me so happy when Rock challenged him at the Royal Rumble that year. I said, "Oh no." Because like Rock had a better win loss record against him. So I said, "Oh no, Jericho, you stepping over here. Them shoes are too big for you, bro." But he beat Rock. And I said, "Yo, there's no one that can stop this man. Like he's just a force." And then we're gonna talk about this match. So let's get into this match. Um, I do want to remind everyone, Chris Jericho was the world champion, but Triple H had the special entrance. And I think that is tremendous. Imagine being your world champion and your second thought. They did not, you can sit here and say, but they put the championship on him. They believed in him. Yeah, enough. They just said, listen, get us to Mania and we'll have something for you. What's that? You losing to Triple H at the grandest stage of them all. Well, what do I get out of this? We'll give you Stephanie McMahon, the same woman that I've been insulting the last 2 years. Perfect. Let's go. Um, do you remember Rich Kings? I'm sorry, because like I do remember some of these things, and it's hilarious to me. Um, do you remember the dog that was in this that got ran over?
There's so many different things that happened in this feud
Uh-huh.
that made it like comedic gold. And I think, Stephanie Man, she's my favorite manager of all time. She's just
Yes,
the best.
yes.
Like she will put tats in the whole call, she would get in everybody's face. And she did a little bit of that in this match. But do you remember the pay-per-view before?
No Way
When
Out. Yes, Kurt Angle.
yeah,
Kurt
when
Angle. Yeah.
and she
Kurt
delivered
Angle
that
Triple
elbow
H.
on that referee to save the
I
match.
never forgot. I never forgot that because I always. So one of the things I've always known from Rich King, when we talk about wrestling, and sometimes we have our wrestling debates, and it's always a good time chatting with you about that. But one of the things I know about Rich King is he loves a good ref abuse. Like that's really his thing. Like going back to when we were kids, because I remember the match. We didn't even talk about the match. He's like, yo, Poobah, did you see how Stephanie dropped that elbow on the ref? I'm like, Kurt Angle did a belly to belly. Like that, I thought that was impressive, but. Yes, I do remember that. I think I don't think the ref did a slide. I think he did the count and she just did a jumping elbow. It was a
He's
perfect elbow.
One, two, and she just and Triple
Yeah.
H just looking at her like, you piece of shit. I love it. Great.
No, it was good. It was good. It was good times. Memory lane. I think that was because I don't think there was a pay-per-view in March. So I'm sorry, I'm such a technical what you call it. That was in February of No Way Out. That's when NWO came back. And then in April, because I think this one was held in April, because sometimes they would do March and April. But I mean, this match, I mean, this I don't even think the crowd was into it. Like, I really don't. I think like once again, and it's just looking back at it and years later, um, like man, this match should have went on before Hogan and Rock. And look, you had to feel good. Triple H with the championship. Everyone was happy about Triple H winning except Maven. Um, like it's fine. It was fine. Triple H he pedigree stuff. Just this man. It was fine. Stephanie, she and shout out to Stephanie. This was a young Stephanie McMahon, but she always knew her role. Like she knew how to play such an antagonist so well. I always gotta give it to Rich Ken because he always saw that in her. She did so, and it was weird too. I didn't want to throw it out there too. I think I got a chance to say that, but it was weird seeing them come out together. Stephanie's doing this, and Jericho got the belt. And you just know a year prior, he called her some kind of trash bag hoe because that was what all he kept calling Stephanie. She, one of my favorite ones with him was like, "How old are you?" But she said, she said something, and she said, "I'm 26," and she said, "No. I didn't ask how many men you slept with." I said, "This was the stuff that was on TV, guys." Like I remember I heard that. I said, "Oh
It
my
was bad.
god!"
Remember this one? We have the whore and the gore.
Yeah, the gore and the whore. Yeah. No, this was. I kid you not. Jericho was good on the mic. Like he said some insulting things. There was one episode of Raw. Him and Rock are taking turns insulting Stephanie McMahon. You remember that one? They're like literally standing side by side.
Mm-hmm. It was just a little ridiculous at that point. But what comedy gold? Comedy liquid gold.
It was comedy gold. That was the one. That was the one with Rock. I gotta just throw it out here because this was always great. I want to bring it back. And he said, "Booker T, what's 1 + 1?" And he said, Jefferson. 1 + 1. Thomas and Jefferson sucker. So great. Wrestling was so funny back then. Still kind of funny, but it was hilarious then. But yeah, no, I'll wrap it up here. Whatever. Triple H wins the championship. JR, you talked about weird stuff. JR praising Triple H. The same man who said, "Tell me why. Tell me why. You son of a bitch." He kept calling him on. Now all of a sudden, and then he's like, he's trying to ruin his dreams. I said, okay, JR, like easy with all this because I'm on to you, JR. That's all I'm trying to say. And listen, once again, Maven wasn't happy about this, and I'm pretty sure Devon wasn't too satisfied about JR's commentary either. So I leave it at that. But those are my 2 inside jokes that I think were very funny. But yeah, the match was there. It just didn't do anything for me. But it was cool to see. And I'll end it with this. I thought I always did like that. I wish that they had that in Shut Your Mouth, where they had both championships. Because then they had the Undisputed Championship is my favorite design, 100%. But just the visual of holding the WWF Championship and the WCW, I always thought that was so cool. And I was so upset that they didn't put that in the game. I remember just being like, man, that sucks. So it's cool now that you can actually do that these days. But at the time, I was like, man, that sucked. But those are my 2 cents, and I'm done.
No, I gave my 2 cents, and Mark round us out.
So, before I get into this match, I got to make sure that we highlight what happened with the Hardcore Championship throughout the match, because at some point, we have Mighty Molly with the championship, and for whatever reason, she's walking and she gets hit with this cartoon ass door where like the bottom opens but the top doesn't, and she just walks into it. Had me dying. I was like, no, what happened? And then here's Christian, Crybaby Christian. Look at me, I got the championship. So then boom, I think there was a match or two, and then the segment right before this match, here's Christian's like, yeah, look at me, I'm actually leaving with a championship, da 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 da. And then Maven out of nowhere rolls him up, takes the pin, gets his championship, steals Christian's taxi. In the taxi is Christian's luggage, so he is gone. We got the belt and we got his stuff. We are out of here. Maven with the happy ending. Christian with another temper tantrum. Christian is not having a good night. Christian is going to TNA soon. He is done with WWE. This is out of control. He doesn't like what's happening here. Blah blah blah. In any event, Triple H and Jericho. I was a little confused. I think something happened and I didn't see the Triple H and Jericho promo. So I was completely confused as to why Stephanie McMahon was on Jericho's side. Like, this threw me all the way off. I was unprepared for this. So I was like, what is going on? Once this definitely was like everybody's alluded to it. This probably shouldn't have been the main event. No fault to Triple H or Jericho. I think they did actually put on a pretty decent match, but the crowd was just dead. Like, the energy was sucked out of the building. We had our main event. These are dark matches at this point, even though championships are on the line, right? The one thing about this match, and I believe we have what, 2 hosts that are not here that I wish were here, because I would have instigated something crazy with these 2. To pull the curtain back, we have a little group chat, and there was a group chat where there was a lot of shit talk about Triple H versus Mankind. And I'm watching this match, and I'm watching Triple H get his entire ass beat, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's interesting. So I guess Triple H loses this match, right? No, Triple H does not lose this match. Somehow, after getting his ass beat the entire match, he pulls out this win. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm chomping at the bits, because I'm so mad that our other 2 hosts are not here, because I'm like, oh, this is good stuff. This is material. I'm dragging this one. Oh my goodness, and they're not even here. But I think it was an okay match. It was a solid match. It was Jericho and Triple H. You very rarely do you actually miss when you have those 2 in the ring. But I was more interested in what the nonsense I could have potentially sparked on this here show to pull the curtain back than the actual match itself, especially with the result and how it went down. But it's cool. It was an okay match.
I think that's part of the problem. Well, Mark, you also missing. I think Triple H took a sensu bean. He didn't realize he took a sensu bean, and then he got better. So, but I would say the problem with this match is like we all said it. It came after Rock and Hogan, and at that time, it just didn't make sense. That's like when we went to WrestleMania last year, and they had CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins in the middle of the card, and then they had like Jey Uso and Gunther as the main event. It would have been a complete and unmitigated disaster, for wrestling, for them, because there's Triple H and Jericho is good, but you just knew the expectation with what was going on with Robert Hogan was going to supersede that. So I just think that, and I think about last year's WrestleMania we went to, and just like, yeah, that would have been the equivalent of Jey Uso Gunther like going on there, and still Jey Uso winning is good, but it's not better than Roman, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, and the heel turn, and Paul Heyman, and the CM Punk old school theme that we thought we were gonna get, but he still came out to cult of personality. There were so many different also changes in that whole thing that when you're and I was alive in Toronto, so that's another thing. When you're alive at these events and you're feeling that, like I said, that energy that the fellow wrestling fans give you, it's exhausting after a while. There just no. If there was another match after that triple threat match, I would have been like, we could go now. Like, I just don't know if I have energy to continue to sit here and watch another match now, because it gave me everything and more. And even how they left the ring was entertaining, because we were all talking about what can we see. We weren't, correct me if I'm wrong, we were not concerned about night 2. We were concerned about Raw. What's going to happen with Raw?
I think we were already like kind of fantasy booking in a way, like, oh man, what does this lead to, and what's the possibilities and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that, I think I can imagine being there, seeing the Icon versus Icon match. I would have had no interest. I would have been fatigued out of this world. But we have one more segment here. WrestleMania 18, like I started off saying, is one of our favorite WrestleManias. And one thing, as a wrestling fan back in the day, and I think one of our 3 favorite songs. Maybe I think I want to say Mark was a fan of this one. We used to ride that 111 bus, right? Remember when Angel just died? We're like, that song was vicious. And then we also have Riot. We always want fucking Riot, but it's not fucking Riot. It's just a Riot, right? But WrestleMania themes. I got my top 3. The great. What is your top 3 WrestleMania themes?
Ooh, top 3 WrestleMania themes. So when you first asked that question, I was like, what is it? And then it hit me immediately. And I told you off air, it's WrestleMania 17, 18, and 19. So I'm going to rank them. I'm going to put 17 my way, and number 3, it's great. It's really, really, really good. I feel like for a lot of people that'd be their number 1, but I'm going to stick it to number 3. Number 2, WrestleMania 18, Drowning Pool. The song that they were singing, I want to say it's Sinner. I don't know the exact title of it, but I love that song so much. I love me some Drowning Pool. Drowning Pool, number 2. And number 1 is Limp Bizkit, Crack Addict. Like, that song gets me hyped all the time. I remember when we were young, that might be my segment. I remember when we were young. But when we were younger, and I remember when we both heard it, and we were just like, I remember being blown away by that track. And it took us many years to actually find the track. I even said I tried to look for it in Apple Music, didn't see it. But shout out to SoundCloud, because I did find it, and I do occasionally listen to that. So shout out to SoundCloud. But my list is number 3, My Way. Number 2, Drowning Pool. I want to say Sinner. And number 1, Linkin Park. We like Linkin Park. But Limp Bizkit, Crack Addict. What's your list look like, dude?
So very similar. We have 2 to 3 songs. So number 3 is My Way, by Limp Bizkit. Number 2, believe it or not, is Ladies and Gentlemen. I love Ladies and Gentlemen.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
It was just so good. The song, the whole package. Number 2 for me is Ladies and Gentlemen. Number 1 is Crack Addict. I think, like you said, when a song can be a part of a video package and the theme, because remember, that was Rock and Austin's little video package song too. It just played throughout the whole WrestleMania, and it was just great. Amazing list we have there. I'm not too sure if Mark wins. I know you are the rookie here, but you might wait. How about this? What is your number 1 WrestleMania song if you have a top 3?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
I just looked at. I found a list of songs, and the only one that I'm immediately familiar with in terms of how it sounds, "The Way of the Highway." That's my number 1. But if I can include a song that I did enjoy. It's not necessarily a WrestleMania theme. It's a SummerSlam theme, Up by Cardi B. Now, I know she wasn't there, but like I remember, like I didn't even know it was a Cardi B song because they just kept playing the instrumental. They didn't really play her lyrics as they shouldn't have. But I did enjoy that theme. At the end of the day, like I said, I would need more research because I'd have to listen to the songs and then like try and understand the context of why a song was given. But in terms of the best one for me, My Way, off the top of the head, because yeah, it made sense. It was very thematic with that particular WrestleMania with you know, Austin and Vince McMahon. Yeah, that's number one for me. The others, like I said, the rest of the songs, it'd be one of those things where maybe if we come back to a WrestleMania and we do it again, maybe I can whatchamacallit because then I can listen to some of these songs. But My Way is the top one, definitely.
Perfect pick, honestly. I mean, it's funny, like when I hear that track, and sometimes we do karaoke, and I don't know if it's at the karaoke spot that we go to. I don't know if it's there, but my point is, when I see it, I don't think, oh, that's a Limp Bizkit song. I was like, oh, that's a WrestleMania song. You know, like to me, I immediately think of WrestleMania. So really, it's a good pick. It's a really good pick.
Very solid, indeed. So let's put a bow on this podcast. How are we ranking this out of 5 stars? I'll go first here real quick, and then we'll pass up to the great to round us out. Like the thing about if 5 stars is the peak, and I think this is one of my personal favorites, I'll give it a 4.9 out of 5. I think the only reason why I will give it a 4.9, I think some matches just did not belong on the card. I know we're speaking in hindsight because we want to see everybody. Back then, we want to see everybody. And we were getting spoiled by seeing everybody. And sometimes too much is not enough. Too much is too much. That's what it is. It was too much. I could have done with a little bit less. Maybe some segments, give them a little, like New York sprinkle, like WWE New York or WF New York at the time, whatever. But it was just too many. I could do with two matches off the card. That's what I would say with that. But did they perform enough? Yes. Got to see some of my favorite talent in the world? Yes. So I'll give it a 4.9 out of 5. And I was trying to think of that 2002 era at that point, who was available. And the people that mattered the most were available for the most part. And that's why it was entertaining. Mark, what would you give the rating out of 5?
So my 2026 eyes is like struggling to give it is struggling to go beyond a 4-star card. I mean, a 4-star card, because like everything outside of that tag match was really good, but the ordering of this card could have been a little better. Now, if I take into account it was 2002, we got to follow tradition where our title matches are you know, our main events. It made sense, and at that point.
Don't forget about the referee.
Oh yes, the referee abuse was great, and then and the hardcore, the way we treated this hardcore champion as that entire storyline. I don't want no, I'm not going to say it did not carry WrestleMania, but the way it flowed was very coherent, and I loved it. So like, my 2026 eyes is giving it a 4.0. I do think though, if I'm watching it in 2002. I do think it's a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. I can understand why it's one of you guys' favorite WrestleMania, because it's really good. It's just me being extra and nitpicky is like, we could have did this, we could have did that. But if I'm just watching it in 2002, oh, this is a blast.
This WrestleMania, it's my favorite WrestleMania. I know a lot of people go with WrestleMania 17, which is not a bad pick, but WrestleMania 18 holds a special place. One, the year 2002 is one of my favorite years of wrestling. I mean, I guess I could just say WWE because they were kind of the only company around until TNA showed up a little later, and I'm going to say Ring of Honor. But 2002 holds a special place in my heart. And, you know, seeing a WrestleMania where you have RVD on the card, Hogan, Rock, I mean, it just almost seemed like this star-studded event, if you will. So I was going to give this WrestleMania a 5 stars, And maybe I'm going to still give it 5 stars. No, I'm not. I'm going to actually give it 4 because I realized as I was going to sit here and make my joke, I realized this is nothing that they could have handled. But they had no business dubbing Maven's theme. That pissed me off, honestly. I did not like that. I don't understand why we did that. That was terrible. Get better, WWE. Pay those people because Maven coming out to this dubbed thing was not satisfying. I was not satisfied by that. But this WrestleMania, I'll give it 4 stars. I don't know if I have any points, but 4 stars just for the nostalgia. Nostalgia plays a big part for me. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it, and it just reminded me of why I love this thing called professional wrestling. I do think some stuff though. I do agree with you guys about the placement. And and I'm not even going to. I'm not even talking about Hogan and Rock being the main event. I'm just talking about some of the other matches being like the women's match being on right after that match. Crazy. That was a crazy. That was a decision, and I just think that was awful. And I do agree that some matches did not need to be on there, but I understood that you still wanted to get people like Edge. I got why they were doing it because they wanted to say this is the future, and that's why we did that. But the match with him and Booker T definitely did not feel like a WrestleMania match, and I'm pretty sure there's some other matches you guys can mention. Hey, this didn't feel like WrestleMania, but I understood that they did want to get these people on the card, and I do appreciate them getting all their champions on the card because I think something now when I even look at this year's Mania, I'm like, well, is this champion going to be on? Because I think if you're champion, I feel like if you're champion, you should be on Mania. You know why? Because you're a champion. But I digress with all that. So four out of five. And I think that's it. Do I take us home? I mean, I think we all got our thoughts in. I want to sit here and thank you, gentlemen, for joining me for another retrospect. I look forward to doing some more with you guys. We'll talk quickly off air. But we want to thank you guys for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification. Write down, tell us suggest a WrestleMania for us. We're gonna probably pick one, but still, if you have a suggestion, we'll take a look at it, upload it for the next show. We hope that you enjoyed it. This is the Big Pop 30 podcast. We're also an audio podcast where we talk about the things going on currently in wrestling. We use the YouTube for some retrospects, and we look forward to bringing some more content on here. And with that said, gentlemen, before we say farewell, Mark Winge, you're doing some content creating of your own. I love that for you. Please tell the people what you have planned.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Legend Number M. I am taking a little bit of a hiatus. It is a little warmer. I am getting outside. And low key, I need a new laptop. So yeah, a little bit of hiatus, a little bit on there. I'll try and come up with something. But yeah, if you want to find some good gaming content, I'll be at Legend Number M on YouTube.
Love that. And the link will be there in the description. So please follow my man's out here and see the stuff that he's doing. And Rich Kings, I know the answer, but still, where can people find you? One, Rich Kings.
Right here at the Big Pop 30 podcast.
That's right. And we hope to get the other host in here because it's going to get a little chaotic. So with that said, we'll see you guys for the next recording. We thank you. Please hit that like, subscribe, and notification so you know when content goes up. We do the retrospects, and we also plan on, for this year's WrestleMania, to have a prediction show. That should be fun. So, already on the card, we got Ober and Brock. I look forward to talking about that with you guys. And with that all said, this was the WrestleMania 18 review as I look for the graphic. This is the graphic. WrestleMania 18. It was a fun review. We look forward for you to join us for the next WrestleMania review.